Hello everyone. In this video, we will talk about the topic of don't expect anything, the paradox of desire and suffering. There is a quiet ache that visits us when we least expect it. The sting of disappointment, we all felt it. We nurture a hope, cradle a wish, send a silent prayer into the vast spaces of our hearts. And when it falls short, we are left holding the empty outline of what could have been. The world teaches us, both subtly and crudely, that expectation often leads to suffering. The Buddha once said, "The root of suffering is attachment." In many teachings of Eastern philosophy, especially in Buddhism and Taoism, expectation is seen not as a virtue but as a seed of sorrow. To expect is to cling, to grasp at outcomes not yet realized, to tie a piece of the present moment to an uncertain wings of the future. And yet, in the very next breath, another teaching from a different part of the world, or perhaps a different corner of the same heart, whispers, quote, "Know what you want, set your intentions, expect it, manifest it," end quote. Here we stand at the intersection of the two world views. One tells us not to expect, to surrender, to let go. The other urges us to claim, to desire, to believe the inevitable arrival of what we deeply want. Is that a contradiction or a deeper harmony disguised in paradox? The trap of expectation. Let's begin with the first path, the wisdom of surrender. There is a particular kind of suffering that creeps into our bones when we expect others to behave a certain way, when we expect the world to reward our efforts fairly, when we expect life to unfold according to the meticulous script we drafted in our minds. A woman waits for a phone call that never comes. A man hopes his hard work will be recognized, but promotion is given to another. A child expects comfort in a moment of fear, but the room remains empty. These moments are familiar not because they are rare, but because they are universal. We expect and we suffer. Expectation creates a story in our heads, a future scenario that may or may not align with reality. The moment life veers off course from what mental image, we grieve not necessarily for what happened, but for what didn't. The problem is not in having desires. The problem is holding our desires hostage to a specific outcome. Expectation is not just desire, it is an insistence of our desire must take a certain shape at a certain time in a certain way. It is this insistence that becomes a root of suffering. When we expect, we attach our happiness to something external, something uncertain, impermanent, and when that fragile structure collapses, so does our peace. The power of desire and intention, and yet desire itself is not the enemy. In fact, desire is what gives life its color, its direction, its flame. A person without desire is not enlightening. They are empty, disengaged. Desire is what pushes the artist to paint, the mother to protect, the wanderer to seek distant shores. Without desire, no seed would be planted, no poem written, no movement started. There is a difference between desire and expectation. Desire says, I would love for this to happen. Expectation says, it must happen. Desire moves with open hands. Expectation clenches its fists. In the modern world of psychology and motivational speaking, we are told to know what we want, to visualize success, to believe. This is not wrong. It is, in fact, essential to growth. Clarity of intention helps us act with purpose rather than drift passively through life. If we do not know what we want, we will accept anything. If we expect nothing, how can we build anything? This is the paradox. To live fully, we must want deeply, but to remain free, we must let go of the outcome. The tightrope walk between hope and surrender. Imagine a man standing on a tightrope stretched between two towers. On one side is hope, the vision of what could be. The other is surrender, the acceptance of whatever is. To walk this rope is to master the art of living. Lean too far into hope, he falls into disappointment. Lean too far into surrender, he will lose on try to move forward. The secret is not to eliminate expectation, but to transform it. Expectation rooted in fear. I need this to happen or I be miserable is poison. But intention rooted in love, I move forward this because it lights my soul, is the power. This is the distinction between spiritual maturity as of us. To live with passionate clarity, but to hold the future with gentle hands. Why we suffer? The illusion of control. At the heart of the expectation is the illusion of control. We expect something because we believe that we can orchestrate life, twist its arms until it gives us what we want. But life is not a vending machine. It is a wide, unpredictable river. We can swim with it, but we cannot dam it. We can plant seeds, but we cannot command the rain. To expect is to assume control over things we cannot control. Other people's choices, the timing of the events, the chaos of the circumstance. When these things betray our expectations, we do not just suffer, we feel betrayed. Yet it is not life that betrays us. It's our fantasy of control that shatters. True freedom begins when we stop trying to force life into our mold. This doesn't mean passivity. It means action without attachment. It means effort without ego. It means dreaming and also letting go. Love without expectation. Nowhere in this lesson more piercing than in relationships. We often enter love with unspoken contracts, strips that say, quote, if I give you this, you should give that. If I love you, you must love me back the way I want it. unquote. And when these contracts are broken, often because the other never agreed to them in the first place, we suffer. Real love is not conditional. It is not a trade, it's a gift. A true gift carries no expectation in return. To love without expectation is not to love less. It is to love more purely. It is to love with open hands without needing to possess or control. It is to say, quote, I offer you this because it is who I am, not because of what you might give back. End quote. This is not easy. It requires the ego to soften, to surrender its needs for security and reward. But it is the only kind of love that does not end with bitterness. Living the paradox, vision without clinging. So how do we live this paradox in practical terms? How do we reconcile the call to desire and pursue with the wisdom of letting go? First, know what you want but hold it lightly. Second, set your goals inspire you but do not chain your joy to their fulfillment. Third, act with full heart but do not measure your worth by the results. 4. The process is always more important than the outcome. 5. Dream boldly, but love reality as it is. 6. Life rarely gives us what we expected, but it always gives us something. Often, that something is better than we had planned. 7. Detach from specific forms and trust the essence. 8. The love we seek may not come in the package you imagine. The success you crave may appear in unexpected costume. Trust that the essence of your desire will find its way to you if you let go of the exact form. 9. Remember that peace is not the result of life going your way. It is the result of your response to life. 10. Peace comes when we stop resisting the moment and start meeting it with openness. The final word. From expectation to presence. In the end, the invitation is simple, though not easy, to live with passion, but not with demand, to hope without clinging, to desire without suffering. Expectation, when reached, is a prison, but intention, when fluid, is a cell. One confines, the other propels. The difference lies in whether we are willing to let life be life, even as we move toward our dreams. When we stop expecting the world fulfill our script, when we begin to notice the quiet beauty of what is, we begin to feel grateful, not just to fulfill desires, but for every breath in our lungs. We begin to understand that true joy is not found in the arrival of what we wanted, but in the openness of whatever comes. And in that space, when desire meets surrender, where vision meets trust, we are free. Thank you so much for listening to this video, and I hope you enjoy it. Please click like and subscribe button to help my channel.